Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this podcast. I'm Thomas Festa, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, December 27th. We've got like 3 days left until our New Year's Eve bash. It's going to be a heck of a great one, folks. On that note, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. We've got a smashing show for those who decided to attend today. Let's see who the hell is out there. I just want to apologize for starting late. Yeah, I OBS'd myself today. I did something that I shouldn't have done. But we're here anyway. All right, let's see what the hell we have out there. We have Amiga Rules, Andy W's in the chat, along with Anonymous Rex. I see Cat, Evan, Firefly, Firestider, Francis Tremblay's out there, Gene Stickle. We got Great Phil, Benny, not Bunny. I'll call him Bunny anyway. Gray Hair Discovery's here, as long as Jan. Good to see you, Jan. Peace and love your way, my dear lady, and light. Absolutely. Justin Crowley's here, along with Kathy. We got King Bull from the 90s. How about that? Mendanopolis is here, along with Mississippi, and it's in the chat. Natla is here. Good to see Necessary Dialogue. We've got Rodney Cox, Orange Man Good. Sam's here, along with Scooby Dooby Gooby. Good to see you, my friend. Shelley Montgomery, Skip the Maluski's here, along with the Wasteland, Turtlehead 420. We got Two Midgets on a Horse, X42B, and Yankee 55858. How about that? Mike, how the hell are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing well, Thomas. It seems like we have a lot to talk about today.
Oh, God,
it's
yeah.
Be one hell of a conversation.
Oh, yeah, as my OBS scenes are like, that one's okay, this one's fucked up, yeah.
We'll get through it.
We've learned, Fessler, don't touch OBS when it works. I know, but the thing I wanted to bring in looks so cool, and it made everything look so fucked up, but that's okay.
You know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
It's an oldie but a goodie, I know.
But I upped myself to my regular dose of Adderall finally, and it's like I felt like Superman. At least I have a prescription for it, and I use it as directed.
Unlike some people who don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what a day, what a night. My goodness. You know, we had that video that came out, a couple earlier this week. Good old Joe Rogan, and had a Twitter troll up there going ahead, and actually, let's call him what he is, an engagement farmer out there, going ahead and talking about stuff and looking for an opportunity to push up the wrong people on X. And but then we had Eric Burleson dropping in, who's a member of Congress, someone who should be supporting whistleblowers and disclosure and not the trolls. But it seems that Lue Elizondo came back last night, Mike, and had a fun time.
Yeah, he did, because all of this is really unnecessary. What's going from the trolls, the pish drinker who was on Rogan, and now sitting members of Congress. It's just really, it's too much.
It's a shit show. You look at where we were when we had the first hearing from the UAPTF. Back when was it 2020, 2021, around that time? Yeah, 2021, when we had that here. Yeah. When we had that hearing. Phenomenal. It seemed to start of something great. It moved forward. Then about a year later, we heard that, the Air Force is trying to put the genie back in the bottle, and that's the DOD included. And who would have thought?
No, yeah, I know. Not us.
Yeah.
Not us. We thought that after Rush testified that it would be smooth sailing. Who knew? Yeah.
Who knew is a great way to put it, Mike. Let's see if I can jump over. I'm afraid to see how this is going to look. It's going to be a mess. Let's get to it. Oh, I'm just a little bit higher up. I think that's going to be the problem. That's going to be the issue. Everything else is going to be there except me. So we have old Adam Goldsack. Had to say, in response to what's been going on out there, have to say I'm disappointed to see. Okay, first of all, Representative Eric Burleson said, these are thoughts I've had as well, referring to Lue Elizondo, and if you want to call it bashing him on X by the usual trolls that are out there who we're not going to name. These are thoughts that I've had as well. I think we need to be open to all possibilities on this topic and be extremely skeptical. Yeah, I'm being extremely skeptical of where, if you want to call it, Representative Burleson is coming from, and his support for what's going on out there. But Adam Goldsack, back to this part of the conversation, says, I have to say I'm disappointed to see Eric Burleson taken by a very disreputable personality. Someone has gotten himself onto Rogan as well. If it wasn't for the efforts of Elizondo at all, the debate in Congress wouldn't be happening right now. And Mike, I'm also going to go ahead and say all the trolls on Twitter and all the people who are on UFO Twitter right now, I'd say 99% of the audience out there wouldn't be involved in talking about disclosure if it wasn't for good old Lue Elizondo.
That's true. You and I are well aware of that. And I think so are they, but they're only in it for themselves.
Yeah.
And, that's all they care about, clicks and trying to make a name for themselves, unfortunately.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. There's their vested interest is in their, whatever they do. Let's go ahead and move on to it. But good news, Lue Elizondo does have a reply to this one, and it ends really interesting. I don't think they got it. Brother, it's okay, not really, but this is politics. It's also a rich environment for hucksters and clicks for likes, as you were just mentioning, Mike. Right. My real reason, as Lou is saying, is that statementship seems to be a dying art these days, not directed at Eric, and that our government has fallen into the social media trap of instant gratitude and the dopamine hit that fools us into thinking that any one of us is way more important than anyone else. Good point, Lou. We're not.
Yeah.
We're all desperate little creatures searching desperately for answers we seek so that we can sleep easy at night. We forget that Mother Nature has a vote, and us little humans need to learn a little humility and humbleness before we'll ever begin to be able to comprehend the great beyond, wherever that lies. I appreciate you, Adam. And for the hucksters, for all you haters and trolls, you know who you are. Just wait until you see what I have coming next. Yes, as Gene would do. Just kidding, not kidding. So, wow, Mike. It sounds like Lou's got some plans for those hucksters and haters and trolls out there.
It does. Well, I guess if they, interested in getting his attention, they're going to get it now.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It should be interesting.
Yeah. Andy W., you have your hand up from the UK. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Happy Christmas, everybody. I find it, I'm going to say slightly funny. Lou came out in, 2017?
2017, sir, yes.
Yeah, with his information. Now, if it wasn't for Lou coming out and bringing that information out, many of these people out on X wouldn't actually be able to grift or jump on the bandwagon. So it's a great case of biting the hand that feeds you, really.
Yeah, it certainly is. And
yeah.
It's, but they've come up with this, term of the UFO hate group, because Lue Elizondo in the past said he wants to, for what ufology has turned into, which Gene has written a great article tracing down the money lines on what the grifters have turned ufology into, that he wanted to burn it to the ground. And I have to actually agree with Lou's sentiment on that, because, it's turned into a money fest. Now, people may go ahead and say, wait a minute, Lou put a book out there. Yeah, he put out one book. It's not like he's ever charged for any appearances anywhere. He's gone to Washington, D.C. countless times to talk with members of Congress on his own dime, flying around the world for this, to be exact. And he's been, working to work his way around the information that he's put out. He's admitted before he's worked in counterintelligence, and he could be involving some of his skills that he's had before, but he's outside of the government at this point. He's a person who's trying to educate society and bring things forward. So I guess if you have a whole bunch of people, Andy, who are just, hating on him, I guess he could, turn the other cheek when he gets slapped, but enough times of that turning the other cheek, sometimes when they go to strike you again, you strike with a sword.
Yeah, and we had this issue with with Rick, don't we? Rick finished, Rick came out of the army in 1988, the same year I joined my company. Okay, 37 years ago, basically, nearly 38 years ago. So Rick hasn't been in the military for 38 years. Now, is he still misleading people? I like Rick. I think he's been far more open with the UFO community since he's been out in the open. And people are going to hate me for it. Personally, speaking to Rick on here, he's never been anything but a gentleman.
Yeah.
I personally, and I'd be disheartened if it was what he was doing, but I don't believe he's been feeding people misinformation for close to 40 years without actually being involved in the military. He's been a police officer in the meantime. He's retired. I've got a friend here in the UK who I work with who actually followed basically the same sort of career path that Rick did. He was a military intelligence here in the UK. He's a policeman after, he now works in my employment. And we quite frequently talk about this subject. But, I don't believe my friend in work is feeding me false information. He doesn't tell me a damn thing, actually. But, I find it hard to believe that, even though Rick and Lou are out of the military, but they're still somehow force feeding us information that's, not on the level. But, yeah, each to their own, I guess.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
If people want to make money off of calling them miscreants or whatever they want to call them, then I guess Lou is right. If this subject needs burning down to the ground, take away some of the grifters, some of the people who are taking a cash cow out of this. So yeah, I'm for it. I must admit.
Yeah, let me. I just noticed the back chat is not working right now, and I've just got it back up and going again. Hopefully it is. Try it again here. Yeah, we got it. We're good. Yeah. Oh, the audience agrees. Yes. Doty is a great person. You got to remember when his wife was in the hospital getting treated for what is basically going to end up being to be terminal cancer, the trolls were harassing the hospital, trying to get into the room to call about Doty and his wife and everything. And it's just like, they have no morals at this point. Everything seems to be open game for them, for these keyboard warriors who are hiding in their mom's second floor bedroom or in some in their basement, some in public housing. And they're going ahead and attacking this guy. And it's just really sad.
Personally, it disgusts me. I've got a family member who's basically facing a terminal cancer issue. Right. Absolutely disgusting. If these people if this is all they've got to do, they're best off leaving the subject. I know they won't because it's their cash cow, but go and get a proper job or work at your McDonald's or one of your fine food establishments in America. You're better off out of the subject. But to chase Rick and his wife a really serious point in their lives. No, it's not even gentlemanly as a Brit saying that,
Yeah. I guess humanity has lost morals in a lot of different respects in different ways. And it's just sad to see where it goes. But I'd have to say in a lot of ways, our government has lost its morals, sticking up for our citizens and what people are going through in their lives. And rather than going ahead and supporting their own communities, their own citizens already there, it seems they're bending over backwards to go ahead. It's great to welcome new people in, but even like when we had people coming in Ellis Island in the past, part of it was how are you going to integrate with our existing society and not just replace it? But we're seeing that replacement strategy was going on in the United States. It was shut down. You've got it up in Canada. We also have it going over in overtime over in Europe and in the UK as well. And it's just, sometimes I guess we're governing by the auto pen. And it's just, it's not the voice of the people, but the voice of the aristocrats and their agendas. And especially in Europe, where they're all being run by an unelected government, which is the EU. It's not okay. To be clear, the head of the EU like the head of the United States, is not elected by the people. It's elected by all the different delegates that are there to get there. So the different policies and what's being put together by the EU is probably going to end up resulting in the breakup of the EU in the future. I can see why the UK got out of it.
It's not looking very good, even though our present government seems to want to take us back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I
can't wait to see what Elon Musk is going to do. I have a feeling he may have a humanity repopulation fund that he might start spending his billions on to help those who are the existing citizens in this country, to help raise our birth rates, because too many people are not getting married. They're not even just that, they're not having kids. But a lot of this all goes back to, God, the laws that are in place and what happens if you're in a marriage and it falls apart, and the tolls and the chains that fall on those who break up from it.
Yeah. As somebody who's not actually married, I can't claim anything to that. But
you took the right route, it looks like. Yeah, exactly. So, Gene, you had your hand up for a little bit ago. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when it came to Rick, an interesting observation I had is I have a friend who, is very anti-Rick in all ways. And, but as a community, you want to know the truth. You want to, we have all of these stories about what's happened in the background. And here you have, yes, somebody who was involved in it, who talks about their role, and then you're going to not only crucify him for giving you the insider insight of what happened, but then you're going to question everything else that he says, and it's just like, well, no wonder people don't come forward. No wonder people don't want to share their experiences. Being on the inside and what their job was and the things that they had to do as part of their job. And even if later they come to the realization, that might not have been that great, we're just going to crucify them all anyway, and have, some sort of moral superiority over, one another, and then discredit anything else they have to say, which might actually be adding value to the conversation. I
have to agree. What are your thoughts, Mike? We've had many conversations about Rick.
That's why, I know. That's why anyone who steps forward, it isn't just about them flushing their life down the toilet, the information they're putting out there. It's like, the best analogy that I can come up with is the Vietnam vets. They went off to fight for their country. And when they returned home, they weren't welcome back.
Yeah.
Like the World War II vets were. They weren't heroes, and they were kind of like outcasts. So it kind of makes people that are in possession of information think twice before they want to.
But a lot of that stuff, I hate to say, Mike, happened with the Korean War. My dad was involved with multiple deployments in Korea. They came back, and there wasn't a big hullabaloo or celebration for everything. They kind of came back to nothing, but it even turned harder against those who were in Vietnam, because you had all the protests and things going on.
Well, plus, listen, the Vietnam War was only the Vietnam War went, I think, from 63 until we got out in 75 in Saigon. So that was like a 12-year ongoing battle. The Korean conflict, it was a police action. It wasn't technically a war. And that only lasted for 2 or 3 years, and it was done. So big difference. And the people that came back from Vietnam, because that war was televised, and there was such protesting going on, that these people, the veterans, were treated almost like criminals.
Yeah.
It was a sad time in American history. And now these whistleblowers today are facing similar repercussions.
Yes. And to to the audience member who's questioning about Varginha, no, we're still going to cover that. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Right, Mike?
Yeah, that's right.
Kyle, your hand is up, my friend. Go ahead.
I wanted to say it's really sad to see people dump all over Rick. The guy's almost 80 years old. He's retired. He's been away from the Air Force forever. He's been more than honest about the Benowitz thing, which is what everybody talks about. But what happened to Benowitz was years and years after his interactions with Doty. And the guy, from what I understand, was unhealthy to begin with.
Yeah.
He was overweight, smoker, 50-something years old. Rick had nothing to do with that. And if somebody wants to believe that Rick is pulling a grift, they're going to have to reach and to a conclusion that he feels so strongly about it that at almost 80 years old, he has dedicated his life to that purpose. Retired, shows up at the conventions, tells people what he can, and the guy has a line. He has a national security line. He's forthcoming with information, but he's loyal to national interest. So I mean, and he's sincere. I think all the shit people give him is just is crazy.
I mean, even if we go ahead and jump more recently, Mike, into the conversations that were going on where, if you want to call it, Amy Eskridge has been she's been exploited, even in death, by the trolls on X lately. And even when, was it her sister who came forward, Mike?
It was her childhood friend, Abby, who worked with her and knew her since they were kids, and asked the trolls, please stop talking about her. It was a tragedy. The family is still dealing with that tragedy. Have some respect. But no, they won't stop. They keep putting their false narrative on the mental health issues that she was dealing with, medical issues, and the false narrative that they keep putting on everything. It's disgusting is what it is.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Well, they care to get their clicks and views and to go ahead and push their clearly false agendas. That's part of the problem. And they think they're right in this, and it's like they live in a delusional state.
Well, they do. And they also, don't care about anything other than getting attention. They're attention whores.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're looking to do it on the backs of people who have suffered tragedies. It really, there's no words for it. No. It's an abysmal human behavior with people like that. That's okay. They're having their fun now.
Yeah, well, let me go ahead and bring this one clip up here. I'll be happy to go ahead and show it for audience to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Let's bring this. Here we go. All right, so RPK over on X says, so you're not going to prove who you say you are. She says, this is who I am, what's going on. You are just going to continue to disrespect Amy and her memory and apologize to Elizondo and Corbell on behalf of Amy. Got it. Not until Deep Prasad steps in and says, she is exactly who she says she is, King. You can take that to the bank, not getting involved with the argument or debate. Love you all. And then coming back from that, you got Amy saying, if I can figure out a way to get this so I can scroll up a little bit, she says, thanks, Deep. Sincerely, thank you. And she's got you, Queen. Red means well. Go easy on him. But the truth of the matter is, did he come back and apologize once or take back his comments against Amy? Nothing at all. He just went completely silent, which is his usual MO.
Yeah, but then he also pushed back against Abby and told her he could say whatever and do whatever he wants to do. It's his right. So he basically told her to fuck off.
I mean, let's be honest. These individuals on X portray people in a false, defamatory, deceptive, disparaging, inflammatory, and malicious manner. No different than how the BBC treated Trump on January 6th and took words of people and mixed, that people said, deceptively edited it and put it out there as the truth. That's what these kind of folks do, Mike.
Yeah, they do. Because they want to get attention. The BBC did it because it wanted to get attention, and they do it for the same reason.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, absolutely, Mike. Now, jumping back, if I can get to it, where do I have it here? Not that one. All right. So, all right. Another post from Lue Elizondo last night, since that's our top story for tonight, where Daniela Jimenez says, would you go on an X space with RPK, Red Panda Koala, Tupacabra, the UFO Joe, and Project Unity? Clear things up, Lou? Simple answer. Nothing to clear with liars. Happy New Year. Now, Mike, they were going out there today. They were so concerned about being called liars that they started going through all of Jay's statements, and even ones where it was clearly it was a misrepresentation of the truth, which is a lie. They said there's no lies here. But they push it in their agenda with the people who are their followers, and it's a momentum that's growing that's concerning, to say the least.
It is, because now you have sitting members of Congress who shouldn't be involved in Twitter wars with trolls, and they are. And that shows you just how far this has been going with their hate campaign and their false narratives, their hate speech.
Now, they call Lou part of the UFO hate group because, rightly so, he wanted to burn classic ufology to the ground. I call these schmucks the UFO, the disclosure hate group, because they are so against those who are bringing out disclosure. Lue Elizondo, Dr. Gary Nolan, Hal Puthoff, and others, all these foundational people who have been there, even Dr. Eric Davis, they've made fun of time and time again to go ahead and bring out the truth, but it's not good enough. It doesn't align with it, and they just call it all, disinformation, when I think really these are the disinformationists.
They are. They're part of the Lou hate group.
Yeah.
And they're not for disclosure. They are only for themselves.
But wait a minute. Don't they go ahead all the time and stand up for, they call him Greer?
Yes.
Hood Greer, as they call him.
Yes, they're trying to make him hip, and they support Dr. Stephen Greer and his C5.
No, Mike, they idolize him. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they really do. And they back up all of his claims, and that DC Muscle Wolf is also not a fan of Lue Elizondo's. So they seem to be on that side of the fence with their idol, Stephen Greer. And they're showing it by their behavior.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I got to tell you, it's a very organized effort. And it's something that has been coordinated for years now. And if this was simply a hobby, people that were getting on the keyboard to, get frustration out or put their agenda out there or try to get clicks, they would do that, here and there, an hour here, an hour there. No, they're on 24/7. How can people put that kind of time and effort in, and what? They're doing this without any jobs out of their own pocket? I don't think so. There's more to this, I think, than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah.
It's a concerted effort, and it's something that really should be looked into, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It's something, there was a lot of stuff that definitely needs to be looked into. So, it's just an interesting situation. We already have people in the audience saying, hey, where's our stuff on? Have we seen the stuff about Varginha and everything? What's going on there? Before we get to that, Mike, we've got a circle back on some deep information that aligns to this, and I don't want to use that to derail some of the content our audience wants to see. So one of the first things I want to bring up, Mike, is a short video. I've double checked, and it looks like we can go ahead and play this one, coming from Palmer Luckey, who's the head and founder of Endrol. You may know him because he's the guy who actually founded Oculus and sold it to Facebook. So he's had he's had his hands in a bunch of things, and he's actually out there going ahead. Where did that video go? Let me get it up here. He's had his hands in a bunch of different things, but he's like one of the only. Reveal in browser. Hold on. Find her. Going to a different window and I can't find this stuff. What, Mike? What did I do to my fucking computer?
That's
It is
okay.
not
It's one of those
behaving. I
days.
can't find the window that it's trying to open this stuff in. Reveal in Finder. Oh, there it is. Is it there? It can't be there. No, that's that.
Open a new window.
No, I've got all the windows here. It's just not showing up where it needs to be. Let me just go to find this one, and let me just go to here really quick. I don't know what the hell I did to my machine. There wasn't a software update. I got it. All right, so let's get this video up of Palmer Luckey going ahead and talking about the non-human intelligence, what he thinks it is. And remember, this guy is the guy, Mike, who creates all the drones and new tech missiles that are out there, that has given him a $2 billion contract with the DOD. And he's also making deals with, if you want to call it, Japan and other countries as well.
He is, because his technology is revolutionary. It's abundant and cheap. So, yeah, he's doing really good work.
Yeah, and I love it
Smart
that he's
guy.
actually bringing out the truth on this. So let's go ahead and play this clip here. This is what I wanted to play last night. I had to check it ahead of time, and we're set. We've got permission to go ahead and play this. Let's go ahead and play this clip. Here we go.
So you don't think UAPs use optical camouflage?
I think that
Hold on
To
a
the-
second here. Make sure the audience can hear this.
look, there's a lot of that we don't understand about these vehicles and what they are, where or when they come from. But it is likely
Mike, right there. Where or when they come from.
Right. That's
Meaning
exactly
they could
right.
be time travelers or coming from a different time or potentially a different dimension. Let's see where this goes.
that whatever they are doing is a side effect or an artifact of what's going on. So like I've talked about this with people. They're like, well, how come like sometimes they're invisible in certain spectrums? And my point is, well, like what if they are not interacting with reality itself in a way you would expect? Like some of these things, you see them and they don't have any radar signature either. I don't know if that means they're cloaking themselves actively or if it means that just they do not exist even in the way that we think about physical matter. I don't know if it's an active countermeasure so much as the nature of the thing itself. But of course, there's so much that we don't know. My current working theory is that they come from the past. So
Interesting. Okay.
They come from the past. Mike, haven't we heard before? A lot of times they're saying they come from the future, but for some reason he thinks they're coming from our past. Could this be, if you want to call it, a civilization that was on the earth a long time ago? Maybe, this could be the civilization that architected humans in the past.
An ultra-terrestrial advanced civilization. It was here on Earth a long time ago.
Or he
And
could
when
even
it-
be a dimensional entity that was on this planet a long time ago, and they're jumping to the future to go ahead and make sure and tweaking things where it goes. Let's listen to more.
coming from the future is too hard. The physics just don't seem to work out. But if you think about it in a certain perspective, like there's a question of where they come from. Like, do they come from Earth? Do they come from nearby? Do they come from really, really far away? Wherever they come from, spatially, the question then is, okay, temporally, what is more likely, that they happen to have come from this particular instant in time, or the hundreds of millions or billions of years that it has existed prior to our existence? That could be true if they were just like waiting around and then came over, at some point. It could be the case if they are regularly surveying and have just been around for a long time. You could imagine a world where maybe the Earth hosted advanced civilizations a billion years ago and we just don't even know about them, and these are the remnants of that. I'm not betting on any of these. It's just that wherever they come from geographically, there's a very, very long tail of time. And also there's ways to travel forward through time very quickly. If I create a very strong gravity distortion, I can have subjective time inside of that bubble passing very, very slowly relative to the time racing by outside of it. And so it's very believable that something from the distant past could come to our present. It's not really believable that something can come from the future back into our present. So,
Mike, I think I have to say this is one of the best descriptions that I've heard of someone talking about why the past versus the future.
It's actually a good point. And for the audience, I'll explain so that they maybe have a better understanding of what he's talking about. Albert Einstein came up with his theories of relativity, and he said that the universal cosmic speed limit is the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles per second. What he said was, if you were able to, let's say, travel out in space at 186,000 miles per second, the speed of light, for 1 year and return to Earth, because of time dilation, when you return to Earth, it would be 100 years later. So you can come from the past with advanced technology and end up in the future. Einstein was able to come up with that theory. So it works.
But this
We know it
also
works.
aligns to the stories we've heard of people who have had missing time. They're only there
Right.
for a short. Remember, you had the guys, I think Grush talked about this. They went into a downed UFO.
They did.
They went inside, and it was like 40 feet or so, or 80 feet, something relatively small on the outside. But when they went inside, it was bigger than a football stadium, right?
Right. That's correct.
On top of that, they were only in there for like 15 or 20 minutes, but yet when they came out, over 4 hours had passed.
Right. So that's obviously time dilation.
Well, no,
Time is operating
it's
differently
time.
inside that craft.
It's time and space. We've got something like the TARDIS, which they've talked about in Doctor Who for the longest time. You know, we're seeing yet another one of those different science fictionisms that we get that actually align to things we're discovering in our reality today.
That's true. Yeah. Doctor Who goes back to the early 1960s. So, yeah, long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
So let's continue on a bit more on this. Here we go.
That's my bet, is basically, given that there's been a lot more time before now than now, just probabilistically speaking, I think it's likely these things have been around for a very long time, and either spent a long time coming to us, or to themselves, subjectively, not much time at all.
Oh.
That's it. Look, I'm not saying.
She's like, let's go back. Listen to her response to this.
And either spent a long time, probabilistically speaking, I think it's likely these things have been around for a very long time, and either spent a long time coming to us, or to themselves, subjectively, not much time at all.
Oh.
That's it. Look,
Oh, I think she's had her mind blown on this one, Mike. I don't think she expected this kind of an answer from Palmer. Maybe she expected the same kind of soft pass coming that we see from Elon Musk on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. This is very interesting to hear him speak like this.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm
Let's see what else is in
not
the
saying
video.
I know what's up. That's just my.
Not saying I know, but
But wait, Mike. He just said, I know what's up.
Yeah, he did. I don't know if she caught that.
Let me get it. Here we go.
I'm not saying I know what's up. That's just my.
not saying I
Okay,
know.
I'm not saying I know. I'm not saying I know what's up.
Oh,
Okay.
but
I'm not saying that.
some ideas.
I'm not saying I know what's up. I'm saying that is my current guess
Okay.
based on what I know.
Interesting. You said this was like your most underrated product. So why?
Oh, sorry. And last thing is, like, the real bet here is I don't think any of these UAPs, I think it's unlikely they were manufactured or created like within the last few years. That seems very unlikely. No, I think they've either been around for a very long time, stored for a very long time, created a very long time ago, or traveled from the distant past into our present. Well, see, that's impossible to say. You know, this is the theory, of course, like, you know, that there's these undersea alien bases, that these things are destroyed there. There's an out-of-print book called the UFOs and USOs of the Santa Catalina Channel, and it's all about how people have seen these things that have gone into and out of the ocean in extremely similar ways over the course of decades. And so, like, it's believable. But of course, being stored on Earth does not necessarily mean they came from here, nor does it not. But I would bet that these things are not recently manufactured. I suspect they've been around for either a long time or maybe a really, really long time.
How does that make you feel about our technological superiority?
I think that the UAP stuff and our technological development live in completely parallel development tracks right now. If and when we figure out what's going on with UAPs, UFOs, that whole universe, everything's going to change, and this won't be relevant.
Pointing at his own technology, Mike, saying this won't be relevant, and he is honest. But you know what I'd love to see is get Palmer and Elon in a conversation about this, because Elon knows more than he's letting up on. I know there's some people in the chat from Denmark who are doubting what's they're said. Jump in the back. Would love to hear what you have to say about this. It's just...
yeah. They can add to the conversation if they want.
It'd be wonderful to hear them add to the conversation. But, you know, again, we've got someone who's building these cruise missiles, the new generation, low cost, building some of the most advanced drones that we've got going on here on the planet. Someone who has, if you want to call it, Mike, access to all the data that these platforms are capturing, whether it's for the United States government or for his own platform as they're going to create this. Right.
That's exactly right. Now, he knows what he's talking about, and he's a very smart individual.
Come on.
Not
We're going to
stupid.
get the guy who invented VR, really, over at Oculus. It's kind of the people who initially put this together, turned this into a platform. Who looks like a surfer guy, still has his goatee going, wearing his loose-fitting Hawaiian shirts and his cargo shorts. I resonate with that. I mean, this is one of the most honest answers we've had. But wait a minute. Didn't we get the former, was it Lear or someone like that, before he passed away, came forward and said, yeah, they're aliens, they're real?
Yeah.
John Lear, I believe.
John Lear. Yeah, that's exactly what
And
it
he
was
like, wasn't he head of Lockheed at one time?
He created the Lear private jets.
Right.
So, yeah, somebody else that was knowledgeable in the field and very intelligent. And the thing with Palmer Luckey is, you're right. You could tell that he's authentic and he's like down to earth. He's a real person. So that really resonates, I think.
Oh, it does. Kyle, your hand is up, my friend. Go ahead.
Are you thinking about Ben Rich from Lockheed?
Yes, probably. What was his name again?
Ben Rich.
Ben Rich.
Yes, Ben Rich. That's who I'm probably thinking of. Who was the former head of Lockheed? It's Ben Rich, right?
Yeah, Ben Rich.
Skunk Works. He said, not only do we have the technology ET has, we have the ability to take them home, I think was the quote.
Yeah, it was.
Because
ET phone home.
The underwater facilities, that's a recurring theme that keeps coming up. There were 4chan posters that claim to be leakers. One that started that up recently. And then another one came out that covered some aspects of that and more. I don't know what to make of that stuff. I just throw it in a pile. I mean, it doesn't convince me of anything. I just put it away. Then now it seems, I don't know his name, but the guy that has an Area 52 podcast, he seems all in on that. He's done a couple of interesting episodes recently.
I mean, if you want to look at it from a statistical standpoint, I've known this since the early 80s. You look at the planet Earth, right? If you're an alien civilization, you're here on this planet, where do you go to survive for the long term where the nuclear slinging monkeys can never get to you? Where's the best place you can go to survive cataclysms? The bottoms of the ocean, period.
And who says they're not used to that type of environment anyway? Or that's what they encounter going to different planets, if that's the case. So, yeah, that's the safest place.
Well, you know, considering we have this cyclical catastrophes that happen to the Earth every 6 or 12,000 years, which we're greatly overdue for right now, especially with the flipping of our magnetic poles that's absolutely going on. You know, you look at it and you say, if you're going to be a civilization that's going to survive the cataclysmic events that happen on this planet on a regular basis, the only place you can go is about underneath the bedrock of the floor of the ocean.
Yeah, or Antarctica.
Well, Antarctica, we talked about this last night, it's a possible option, but there is direct satellite coverage of all of Antarctica. We can see what's coming in, we can see what's going out, and our abilities are allowing us to get around to different places. So, Antarctica is another good place, but the real place that's the safest, definitely. Because don't forget, when the Earth goes through its eventual change every so often, where we get the actual physical planet to rotate 90 degrees, continue its rotation around, it could be a crust decoupling event or just a reorientation of the planet as it continues to rotate. In that particular situation, even Antarctica, although Antarctica and Greenland come to the overall, if you want to call it, equator, it's still not safe.
Not to get too far out in left field, but recently I ran across an article. I haven't fact checked it, but a reporter followed cell phone metadata, picked up Jeffrey Epstein's, and Epstein had 2 jets, famously. One was a Lolita Express. It was a 737. The other one, a Gulfstream. Gulfstreams have an incredible range. And he supposedly tracked a flight from, I don't remember where it was in the U.S., to the Argentina edge of Antarctica. Figured, and it was nonstop. So figured the range of the jet, there was no way to make that destination and come back without refueling. What would it take to refuel in Antarctica?
Not much, my friend, not much.
If that's true, I'll find out. I can look, but
yeah. We'll find out, definitely. Appreciate your input on this. Now, if we could go ahead and jump forward on the other story, I promise we're going to put out for audience. We've got an interview here of Vinny from Disclosure Team with James Fox coming from Australia. Let's go ahead and play this clip and talk about it. Here we go, folks.
James, how's things?
Things are well. I'm doing this interview, by the way. Great to see you. I'm doing this interview from Varginha, Brazil.
Amazing.
And things are really cracking here. Like it's really, I feel like this is the beginning of the beginning, really.
That's really exciting to hear. So, firstly, congratulations on the new version of Moment and Contacts, new revelations of alien encounters. I watched it twice. I watched it last night and a week or so ago. Fantastic. I like how you've blended in the new stuff with the previous work on the case. So, we are limited for time. So just tell us, you're in Virginia now. What is the latest with this investigation?
So for the first time in history, we got together with all of the doctors together in the same space. Yeah, Dr. Giannini, the forensic pathologist that did the the tissue sample analysis from the deceased military officer Marco Cheriz, the Dr. Armando, who did the actual autopsy on the deceased military officer, Dr. Cesario, who actually tried to keep the military officer alive, threw the kitchen sink at him, and he said that the bacteria wasn't responding to any of the antibiotics, which he's never seen before and he's never seen since. We got Dr. Italo, the neurosurgeon, who allegedly had face-to-face contact with the being in captivity. He was there, his wife, all their wives, and just really sort of getting to know them and how long they've known each other and just getting in that inner circle for a number of reasons, right? I mean, just establishing credibility and what's their, how long they've known him, and 30 plus years, 40 years, 45 years, friends with their wives. I mean, these guys is a tight group of doctors, and they're all supporting him coming forward with that claim. More than supporting him, but I have it all on camera, and I'll be releasing some clips probably as early as today about just some of those meetings. But so that's happening. We met with the new mayor. We're having a screening here in town tonight, and I'm doing the best I can to get more people to come forward because I feel power in numbers and safety. We met for the first time with a nurse last night, and they this individual said, "I know Dr. Italo is telling the truth." And I said, "How do you know that?" And this individual was like, "Because I was in the room." I was like, "Holy
wow."
Yeah, so it's really, it's really happening. And obviously, I know your audience, people feel frustrated, like, where's the video? Where's the photograph? Like, if there's anybody on the planet, in fact, let me start that one again. There's no one on the planet trying harder than me, okay? Believe me. If they knew 1/50th of the efforts that we're making to get my hands on that, you just have our team. It's unbelievable.
And that's the 35-second clip, is it?
Oh, there's a bunch. No, we've discovered there's more. There's photographs. There's video taken from multiple sources. No question.
Oh, wow.
No question. I sort of have the impression on some of it is that they all need to be on the same page. And
right.
Look, it could be wrong, but this is the feeling I get is that they all, because it exposes people in it. So they all need to be on the same page. We're going to release this, right? So maybe one of the doctors, or who knows, but we've got names. We're doing our best.
Amazing. So where's the pressure coming from mostly, or the concern? Is it because of the Brazilian military? They silenced these people back, 29 years ago or whatever it was.
Well, if you're saying the Brazilian military, we have to think that Brazilian military is being influenced by the U.S. military and the funding that goes down. Well, not these days of Brazil, but I digress.
People are concerned that have no evidence coming forward. So you can imagine if you've got evidence, you've got a big target on your back, right?
Yeah.
We met with an individual last night that, again, it's just a claim, right? I don't know if it's true, but I don't know why this individual is not going on camera or anything, not trying to sell me anything. But this individual was saying that his friend was in the military and he kept one of the pieces at the crash site, and he was describing exactly what it was, and that you crumple it up and it would retake its form, and that the military got wind of it and they went and took it and yeah. You shouldn't have talked about it. Yes.
Wow.
So, but in terms of like really compelling firsthand eyewitness testimony, I think this is the strongest case by far in the world. And the vast majority of firsthand witnesses are still alive. And they're of the age now where they're like, well, if I'm ever going to come forward, now's the time, because they're not getting any younger. So if they were in their 40s, for instance, they'd be in their 70s. If they're in their 50s, they'd be in their 80s. Unfortunately, the chief of police, Pedro Aguariari, something like this. Sorry to mispronounce his name. We got him on camera, thank God, this year, and he just died.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and another one of the crash witnesses, Eurico Freitas, I think, is one of the farmers that was a witness to the object with the tear in the back of it. We have a new witness now, Fabio Portado, went out to his farm, and then we mapped it out. I don't know if you noticed that with what we did this time. We took like Google Maps, and then we were like, okay, well, where does this person live, and where does this witness, and where was the impact site? And now it all makes sense. Everything, all the pieces of the puzzle line up perfectly. It was incredible, to see that. And and the former investigator, one of the lead investigators, Vittorio Paccaccini, he went off the radar for the better part of 20 years, and he's back in the mix now. And he was the one that says, I'll put my hand on a Bible and take a public lie detector test. His friends, because he grew up in Três Corações, which is like the region where Ezza military base is, and he knows those people, and those are the people that he claims showed him another video, the video that was taken. And they did it because the Americans apparently were coming in and taking everything, and out of protest and without authorization, they just shot like a short video of the creature in captivity. I think it was either Ezra or Campinas.
And that's the thing, they do, you say the puzzle pieces all make sense now. They really do. And the journey that the beings took from the regional hospital to Humanitas to ISA to Campinas and then to the US. I mean, there's so many people now just confirming that timeline, and it's just, it's so compelling. It really is.
It's absolutely insane. And I don't know how much I can reveal here, but
it's Christmas. Come on.
Well, no, because I don't want to jeopardize.
Sure.
But we are probably highly probable maybe tonight. If I have to stay up all night to do it, I will. We're going to go. I don't want to give the location, but we're going to meet with an individual that allegedly was part of the military operation. And this individual doesn't want to come forward publicly, but this individual is considering letting us record all their credentials on camera and a statement on camera that I can present to the United States, to select members of Congress in the United States, along with all the other testimony, right? So that this individual is considering allowing me to do that, having trust in me that I'm not going to expose, because they're pretty. Sorry, I keep sipping coffee. I just literally, I haven't had coffee.
No problem at all.
Anyway, yeah. So it's extraordinary, and I've seen a couple of people online like, oh, well, I saw this, interview with Dr. Italo, the neurosurgeon, and he said that he only saw the video and didn't see the creature. I was like, yeah, that was us, because we have someone that's been working within, and I got to be careful what I say here, but we have someone who we meet with for over a decade that works at the hospital. And this individual's like, you should go talk to this person. I've heard that this person, wink, wink, So we heard that Dr. Italo had seen the video, because that's been our primary objective, is to get our hands on the evidence. And so we approached Dr. Italo, having no idea that he was a firsthand witness to the creature. I mean, we were just like, yeah, we heard that so-and-so said that they showed you the video,
Yeah.
So we went there on camera. It was our team. It was Marco. And I actually did a Zoom, I did a video call with him. And when he admitted to having seen the video. He's like, yeah, I saw the video. I said, oh my God. So now he calls me, oh my God. He's like, but he's like, no, I didn't. He wasn't ready. He said he wasn't ready at that point. He wasn't ready to come forward. He just wasn't ready. So he denied seeing the creature. But I didn't think to ask him if he saw the creature. I think Marco did, but now he said, it's been about a year. He had a heart attack. Then he got prostate cancer. And his fellow neurosurgeon, Marcos Vinicius, who was also present, had a heart attack and died in 2018. And he said he was staring at the ceiling in the ICU. And he was like, you know what? If I survive this, I'm coming out. I'm going all out, all in on this. And so, we were in the right place at the right time. We were interviewing the 2 forensic pathologists about these extraordinary observations of the bacteria. And we were like, oh, and by the way, we're trying to get in touch with Dr. Italo, and we'd met with him like a year ago on camera, but he wouldn't get back to us. It was like he was being very evasive. And I would jokingly say he's like trying to grab a bar of soap in the bathtub, He just was like 1 second he's there and then boo, he just was gone. And Dr. Cesario will be that way as well. And because it's a big commitment, and this is their career. Like, you're going to come forward and you're working on people's brains and say, yeah, by the way, I had a face-to-face contact and communication with a live alien. Like, you really think that's a career enhancing move for him? Like, that's, it's a really big deal. And so anyway, the Dr. Armando, when we were interviewing him this year, we said, oh, and by the way, we're trying to get a hold, and he's, okay, tomorrow morning he's going to meet you. Go around the back.
Amazing.
We're going to meet you around the back gate, and, what's he going to say? We didn't know what was going to happen, and he sneaks us into the hospital in the back, like through the back door, basically, and takes us into the ICU, the very room where the creature sat in the bed, in that room. It's like, it happened right here. And at first he starts talking about the video. So I saw the video, and then apparently there was they put like a temporary drape, like a curtain, from where the creature was. And I guess Marcos Vinicius was like showing the video because he'd done a procedure on the creature, and then there the creature was, and just decides the hell with it. He literally said, whatever the consequences are, I'm willing to, I don't care anymore. I can't take this to the grave. Then we're interviewing in there, and we weren't supposed to. We had to have all the gear on, because you can't go in the ICU without all the stuff, right?
Sure.
And then we get caught. They kick us out. He's like, I think I just got fired. Like, we wanted to finish kind of filming with him a little bit more. We go outside, and then we go in some cafe. Everyone in the cafe is like, what's going on here? Like, a doctor is coming in, and we're this whole crew of Americans. And anyway, and and it's been rough for him initially. But then we've been meeting. I've been here 3 times, and I'm coming back again next month in this year alone. Wow. Because I wanted to make sure that Dr. Italo knows that we have his back, and that the community has his back, and that whether you believe him or not, this man has dedicated his life to helping people in the community. Everybody knows him. He's been here forever. And to have respect and be kind, and and just. So, and then the rest of the community, particularly Dr. Armando, which runs all the hospitals, and he was the guy that did the autopsy on the deceased military officer, Marcos Ruiz. Yeah. He assured us that he's protected, like they have his back, which is great. Good. And I said, if you lose your job, because it was rough for a little while, I'll do a GoFundMe, and but right now it's okay. So, it's pretty crazy over here right now.
I can only imagine. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just sticking with Dr. Italo, there's a point where he gets quite emotional towards the end of the documentary, and you can almost see that this guy is not doing it for any other reason other than to get it off his chest.
He has not asked for one dime. One dime. There's things happening. I promise you, there's things happening. There's things happening. Yeah, sure, it involved passport visas.
No worries. And watching the documentary again, with comparing it to the original release in 2022, I believe it was, that one scene where you go and try and meet with Eric Lopez, the driver, is that lead completely dead and buried now? Is he just adamant he's never going to come forward?
last night we had a decision to make, the crew here, and it was go meet with some town officials that really wanted us to go meet with, or go to church, because we know what church he goes to at 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Wow.
I kind of wish we would have gone to the church last night, but we had to make a decision. And people that are being extremely, we just had to film a bunch of statements that it's part of this project that we're doing next month. And so we got the official city hall with the flags, the podium, and all this stuff. And those people that made that happen for us invited us to an event last night. So we had to make a decision that we're going to go to that, or we're going to go to try to track down Lopes. We did contact his wife after that incident, and I said, because I always say, when I ask somebody, I don't say would you consider, or I say, what's it going to take,
right,
for you to come forward? What is it going to take? Just hit me with it, And I said to his wife through someone else, what is it going to take to get a statement from Eric Lopes, your husband? And she said, and it just so happens, a lot of people don't know this, her brother was Marco Cheriz. So Marco Cheriz, the military officer who allegedly grabbed the creature when it was alive, got a little scratch from the nail under the arm. That's what killed him.
Yeah.
His sister married the driver, Eric Lopes. So I said, what's it going to take to get your husband, Mr. Lopes, to come forward? And she said, bring my brother back to life, and then he'll talk.
Wow. That's a tough one. Wow.
Yeah, that's yeah. I'm pretty good at making things happen, but that's oof. Yeah. Hey, but another thing
I want to talk about the air traffic controller that we see.
Yeah.
Sure. Go on.
So I was going to say, because when the first version of this film came out, this was before all the congressional hearings and the allegations of crash retrieval and the Dave Grush stuff. You know what I mean? So I feel like it might have, maybe it was a little premature, or were people ready for it? I don't know. And I feel also that the case on its own, because I know personally, because I was working on my second UFO film in the late 90s, out of the blue, I know my response to it when I was already doing a UFO documentary. I'm already making a film on UFOs, and I'd heard about it from my partner, Tim Coleman. And my response was, this guy needs to up the dosage of whatever medication he's on, because he's lost his bloody mind. I'm not going to spend 1 second looking into this absolute nonsense. I dismissed it faster than you could possibly imagine, right? So I know what it's like for people that have limited information on the phenomenon, that this is a very difficult case to even consider believing, right? I understand that really well, because I dismissed it for over a decade. I wouldn't even look into it. And so I feel like the case on its own, extremely compelling, but but then you got the congressional hearings, right? All the congressional hearings, all the allegations at the highest levels. I mean, these people are testifying under oath to a bipartisan group of lawmakers, under oath. There are consequences for lying to Congress under oath. Sure. And that coupled with, so you have the allegations on the American side, all the congressional hearings, and then you have this case. And I think between the two, it's making the most compelling argument that's been made, in my humble opinion. So, excuse me. So I really think that they need each other, right? And you have Dan Farah's film, Age of Disclosure, and that, look, people can criticize all they want. Oh, where's the evidence? That is the highest level officials that I have ever seen in my life going on the record, talking about crash retrieval and reverse engineering and the technology and all that stuff. That's not a big deal, okay? But they don't provide any cases, which is fine. I'm not criticizing it in that respect. So it's like you've got Age of Disclosure, you've got the congressional hearings, you've got allegations at the highest levels of government, and then now you have the case. And this is the case. In my opinion, this is the case that's going to tip the scales.
I really hope so. I mean, if any case is going to, it will be this one. And
now, really quick, this has been a great video. We've gone ahead and given you a good insight to coming from Vinny over at Disclosure Team. If you want to go ahead and see the rest, go ahead and jump across to his channel. Don't want to, give away the baby with the bathwater. But Mike, your thoughts?
I like the fact that he's back over there again. And he really is, like he said, trying to get to the truth of this. And this occurrence that happened was back in 1996, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he's really been really hard to try to get to the truth while these people are still alive. I think I give credit to James Fox for going all out on this to try to get to the truth. I think it's amazing.
Exactly. Now, Mike, go ahead and for our audience, this is a big one. This is the surprise. We've got something for you. Just want to go ahead and let you know, yes, this is our 5th year anniversary this year on YouTube of being around Disclosure Tonight. You know, it was around this time last year that I actually put up my first video. We'll go ahead and show that when we have time. Just want to say It's been a pleasure and an opportunity to serve this great audience that we have out there. Over 17,500 subscribers. Love you all. Appreciate what you can do. And, we're here for the long term, and we will be continuing on. On that note, this is an article that came out of some conversations we've had in the back chat after the show, called "The Architect of Disclosure: Following the Money and Ideas Behind Stephen Greer's Cosmic Enterprise." Now, why are we kind of going down this path? For the main reason that all the detractors, or at least a good high majority of them, the ones who idealize and grandulize however you want to call it, who basically promote him and his statements and what he stands for and turn him into their own idol, and they make him look as great as they can as Hood Greer and other people. Well, there's some interesting facts behind this that I think will make even the most tepid, if you want to call it believer of Greer, make your toes curl. Mike, you want to lead in on this, or should we get this right across to Gene?
Yeah, let's get it to Gene.
Gene, welcome, my friend.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I mean, just to frame this for everybody, because I don't want it to seem as though, we go out looking to find problems. Within my father-in-law's work, he talks a lot. There's a number of sections that have to do with consciousness and human development. And so, naturally, in trying to understand that, I need to explore what's in the community right now. What are people already saying? There's numbers of things around consciousness that we talk about here. Laura, who's often in the back room, I ask her questions about. So this, began from that perspective of I wanted to deeply understand CE5 and what is it that the program is about. And so, that's the path that I took down. And so what I've shared is the initial push. Let's say this is the initial information that I've discovered going down the road of exploring CE5 and what it's about and where did it come from. I just found it fascinating, and I pushed this out, and as we continue to look into it more and dive more into it, I'll continue to update it. But between the program itself and what seems to be its origins and what seems to be the business behind it, because again, with my background, I always got the follow the money is always in the back of my head. And so, that just becomes a natural part of my own questioning of anything that I see. What are motivations of the people that are putting the information out there? And in Greer's case, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody. There are multiple commercial enterprises and structures and things like that. So I'm like, well, let's just lay it out and examine it. And I put all the sources in there, so anybody, anyone can go have a look, check it out, figure it out. As it says right there, I'm not trying to analyze or create a scandal. This is about analyzing structure and analyzing the structure of again, people who are positioning themselves as the voices and advocates of disclosure and just understanding their motivations. And it's very similar to the criticisms I have of Corbell and others in the media space, that if you are, if you are truly advocating for the things that you say you are, then, some things make sense, others don't.
It makes sense. No, I know you've taken an extensive dive before we do a deep dive on this one on Monday, which we're going to jump into. It looks like there's this web of these different organizations all around the world, including even in Switzerland, where they have bank accounts which can't be tracked because that's what Switzerland's about, to go ahead and actually funnel money into this organization.
Well, like anyone, anyone who has who's an entrepreneur, anyone who is diversifying their wealth portfolio, it's certainly not unusual to find them have some diversified international assets. The reasons are varying. Some people, again, have European connections, and that's part of it. And for others, yes, it creates, particularly in a country like Switzerland, a structure where there's not as much transparency when it comes to things like salaries of officers and corporate structures and things like that. So, the Greer ecosystem, from what I've seen, is this combination of for-profit entities and nonprofits, and seemingly there is a system of booking the revenue through the for-profit, and then you send it off to a nonprofit to avoid that becoming taxable income, and there's real estate holdings as well, that involve like the personal homes of he and family members, and within those for-profit entities or anything overseas, then you generally don't have visibility of salaries and income. So, so my criticism in that regard is, you run around saying, I don't make $1 out of this. You don't make $1 that anybody can find out of it, right? You're making $1 somewhere out of it. And if it's not, being paid via a salary, then you were probably, getting some kind of consulting fee or appearance fees out of, whether it's the communications company or it's a management fee as part of the real estate holdings company that owns your own property. People will do it where they, again, in Greer, the Greer Institute, Stephen M. Greer, MD Institute, that one issues stocks, and there's 10,000 shares of stock. So, the stock in and of itself becomes value. You hold it there, but there's no external board. There's no external governance. There's no, public facing statements. And it's, again, interesting in the language where it talks about making donations. It's donations to the for-profits, which are not taxed. You can call them donations, but they are not tax deductible.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a use of language around, giving and donating that does not actually fit with how you operate nonprofits.
That makes sense. So it's just, there's a lot of different organizations here you're talking about. We've got CSETI, which is the only 501c3, but on different places where they encourage people to go ahead and donate, they're being pushed towards all these different for-profit organizations, from event-specific LLCs, the CE5 Contact app, to the Serious Disclosure, Arrow LLC, C's Incorporated, and of course the Disclosure Project. They all kind of, like you're saying, they're using the language of a nonprofit for a for-profit enterprise.
Right. And some of these are defunct. Some of them seem to have, as nonprofits, seem to have zero income and zero revenue and zero assets. So a lot of times this is in if you have a creative accountant, they just sort of book and move things around depending on how the core business activities were for the year in order to minimize your tax liabilities and, maximize your investment income, let's say.
Exactly. If we can, we have a question from Syrup in the back. Go ahead, my friend.
Oh, I don't want to get you guys off subject. I did have.
Oh, never
a
mind.
question
Also
about
before?
Greer.
Okay, we'll continue then. All right, back to the
I
conversation.
did have a question about Greer before you move on, though.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was curious. Like, I know Greer likes to have like those pretend hearings, like they're meaningful, but we kind of all know they're not. I was curious, do you think there's a possibility Greer would actually testify in front of Congress as a whistleblower or about knowledge he knows? I just feel like he's too full of crap and he doesn't really have much to offer to do that. But do you think there's do you think there's anything he could testify to in front of Congress?
I mean, he could testify to whatever they'd like him to. He's not a whistleblower. He has nothing to blow the whistle on. He doesn't have access to. He's not a government employee. That's what a whistleblower is. Somebody inside an organization that is bringing forward information of fraud, waste, abuse, or criminal activity.
And that would be the same as if we had an insider bringing out fraud, waste, and abuse coming out from Greer's organization. That type of person would be called a whistleblower.
Yeah, exactly. So, otherwise everything he has is his opinion. And the CE5 things, for example, all seem to be based on on another type of new age program that was popular in the 1920s. And, it's again, he had an interest in that area. He studied it. It looks like he probably came across, this philosophy of spiritual beings whom are desiring contact with humans. And through meditation, we can contact them and they are benevolent and they want to help us. And eventually, we'll reach this higher.
Yeah.
It's the exact same script. He just rebranded it for aliens and UFOs.
Yeah. Little birds are going off in the background and warning us we need to be careful. He's got lawyers out there. And, anytime you bring out the truth, people are going to go after people, Gene.
Yeah. I mean, you can lawyer whatever. It's all public information.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And for those interested in the chat, here is a link to it. Gene's story over on Substack to go ahead and talk about it. Yeah, it's an interesting place to be and just to go ahead and talk about the situation. But sometimes you need to, especially when you've got someone who's been going out and pushing, for the people that are pushing so hard back against Lue, back against the disclosure movement and idealizing Greer and saying, oh, that's the approach we need to go. It's just sometimes you have to connect the dots and figure out where it's going.
Well, and that's what kind of became my question. I'm like, all right, so what is it that he's pushing, and what is it that we're supposed to be following? And from what I can tell, we're just, it's a new age program. It's a self-help, feel good about that you're one with the universe. It's like what Tony Robbins sells. It's like what anybody who purports themselves to be a self-help advocate packages together and pushes out. It's the exact same thing. And, there's nothing illegal about it. There's nothing wrong with it. If that's what people want to believe, I just don't see where the fundamental value is to how that gets disclosure. How does that mean anything?
It sounds like you're describing a grift. It's like a grift.
I mean,
not putting words in your mouth. That's how I'm understanding it.
I mean, it is a business, right? So, if you're under the impression that he has some sort of insight that has been delivered to him through ET, perhaps he believes that. Perhaps he'll pass a lie detector because he's convinced himself that this program from the 1920s, is different or or pretends he doesn't hear of it, or whatever the case might be. But it's there. That's what it is.
Now, one of the additional things you've brought up, Gene, was that the donations for Greer don't go to Sea City anymore. If you look in the past and what was going on, there was a substantial financial portfolio that was coming in year after year around 2010, 11, 12, around that time frame, where Sea City had this coming in, which Greer, I believe, was the officer, and the amount of money that came in matched the expenses, much like it does today. But now you've got three different companies that are out there, or three different places that are out there that collect the money. One is Star LLC, another one is actually Greer's personal Venmo, and the other one is the Serious Disclosure, which is controlled by Zelle and PayPal.
Right. Well, yeah, and there's some other woman who collects things through her personal Venmo, it looks like. So I mean, again, transitioning or combining or changing your corporate structure is one thing. But if you're a nonprofit collecting donations, then those generally people have the expectation that those are tax deductible organizations, that there is, structure and everything behind that. There's, I ran into a situation one time where I sponsored something, and the guy who was organizing it pocketed all the ticket revenue that came in, and said, no, that's the tickets everybody bought, that's my personal compensation. And then I got stuck with the bills. And when I said, well, why don't we use the ticket money to pay for the bills, and then whatever's left over, you either share as a loss or you share as the profits. But he was very convinced in his mind that morally the idea, and I'm like, when people were buying event tickets to the event, they were not buying it thinking about it's going in your pocket. They were buying tickets to the event because they recognize, oh, you've got to pay entertainers and tents and tables and chairs and all of these other things. So it's it's a similar thing. When people are making a donation, they think that money is going towards particular purposes within a particular framework. That doesn't seem to be properly spelled out and properly identified. And, and maybe there are changes going on in restructure, and they're going more towards this serious technology for-profit organization where, the revenues from the royalties come in and the CE5 experiences come in, and they're trying to streamline it. But when you are in this case in particular, you are in the business of transparency. You're in the business of calling on the government to be transparent with everything that they have. You are calling for people to come out and talk. You yourself need to be transparent. You yourself need to let people, and particularly when you are asking people for money, they need to know where that money is going to. And when you're saying, oh, it doesn't come to me, but I live in a $2.5 million home and my daughter lives in $1 million home, and we get, come on, buddy. Come on.
And they all have touch points with the organization, or the organizations, I should say, that circle around Greer.
Yeah. And again, nothing that anybody who is, again, trying to manage an amount of wealth and build generational wealth wouldn't do. But again, it's sort of a being disingenuous type thing. Just call it what it is. Oh yeah, I'm in the New Age philosophy business, and I just brand it as UFOs.
Reminds me of us calling someone a stand-up philosopher.
Yeah, and so that's, like I said, that's what I what I wrote was the path that I went down, and others, we're talking about a lot of it last night too. And so, it's out there, and we'll continue to go down and explore it. And again, if a lawyer wants to send me a nasty letter, send me a fucking nasty letter. I don't care.
Yeah. It's all about bringing out the truth, no matter where that's going to go ahead and take us.
Right.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
If Stephen Greer feels that, a disabled veteran trying to see where donations are going from the organizations going is a threat, maybe you got bigger problems.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting piece that you've got over Medium. I share that with the audience and stuff. Mike, your thoughts? It sounds like there's a more of a deep dive, and more attention needs to be paid in this area. I think we may have lost Mike. He's on family day right now. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't even see him back there.
He may have dropped off. That happens.
I think he did.
Yeah, that happens. But great conversation on this, Gene. It'd be interesting to see where in the heck this goes. There are so many. It's almost like literally building a mind map on this one, trying to figure out and connect all the different dots on this for the audience to be able to understand it, because it's not just one individual, one statement. There's a whole web of people who are all, if you want to call it, feeding off this entity known as Stephen Greer, and the money he's bringing in, and depending on how he's spending it, to go ahead and push forward his version of what he thinks the world should believe is disclosure.
Yeah, and I think and I think if anything, I just hope it educates the consuming public on different ways to discern what it is, the information that's coming in, and to think about the motivations before reacting, responding, or jumping on board. Again, everything I wrote, there's a whole section of the sources and links and things like that, and anyone's welcome to, jump on it and look into things themselves and see if it makes sense. And it's there. Public, we're all in this together. We all got to figure it out together. And it's something we, to be applied across the board. Somebody posted earlier, and I think this is the way people need to start thinking. Somebody posted earlier, Lou charges $70 for an appearance ticket. Okay. How much of that $70 do you think goes into his pocket if he self-produced it, right? What goes into one of those things, where a speaking engagement in the theater? Even if you self-produce it, you got to rent a theater, you got to get there, you got to have lighting, you got to have sound,
which is all the expenses to add, like you're saying, get there, to eat meals, to be able to stay in hotels, to be able to go to that place, to set that thing up, to go ahead and do that event, plus paying for the venue and any other fees. Then you have the people who are buying the tickets who are getting fees charged on top of those fees to book it. And depending on the tickets you get, they can go anywhere from $40 or $50 up to $60 or $70 at the absolute most. So it's not like you're paying hundreds or thousands of dollars to go and see Lou. It's something that's within the reach of a lot of people's budgets. So yeah, he's done a limited number of speaking engagements, but you know what? Good for him.
Yeah. And for the most part, he's probably just somebody else is producing it. He's getting a speaker's fee. And, that person is, making, maybe said, if they're lucky, they're making $7 per seat of, whatever theater it is that they're hosting it in. That's what I'm saying. Let's get beyond the superficial, aspects of things. And, especially if you're calling people grifters, then let's follow the money and chase it down and see what the expenses are. And, what's coming in and what's going out if you're that concerned about it.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like Greer's disclosure is fake and Lou's disclosure is realistic, man. I don't understand it. Because I don't want to offend people, but I feel like Greer's disclosure, based on what you guys are saying, is let's get together, we'll meditate, I'll have flares drop out of the sky.
But Greer does talk about, if you want to call it, all the craft we're seeing in the skies is all reverse engineered from humans, which I've heard many times. But on the other side of the fence, you've also had Greer talk about Bijou and everything else of these aliens that are good. There's just kind of like this mixed message, eh, Mike?
Yeah, that's true. And Gene, I just want to add one more thing. If you have a connection to businesses and that money gets funneled into and through a personal account like Venmo or PayPal, there, from an accounting perspective, the term that they would use for that is called commingling of funds. And I could tell you that's not legal. You're not allowed to do that.
Well, commingling means you have an account where all the funds come in for what you're doing in your businesses, and it's your personal, and there's a commingling of the funds where you're paying stuff out of your personal to go pay for the business, to go pay for your personal stuff. I would almost have to say, yeah, his accountants don't let him do that. There are accounts set up for different particular needs, and I don't think we've seen anything about commingling. Have we, Gene?
Well, I think, again, I think that's the power of the donations and where donations are coming into and going out of and being run out of your home and things like that. So, yes, it takes a very, very careful accounting to make sure that that's on the level. I wouldn't say that it necessarily rises to the level of criminality, but what it does is then it breaks, if you've ever heard the phrase breaks the corporate veil. Right. That people, establish corporations and LLCs for small businesses so they have the corporate protections. However, if you are operating it in that way, that you cannot distinguish the business funds and assets and expenses from the personal funds, and there is that overlap because they flow in and out of or through personal accounts, then, if something were to happen, if you wind up in litigation, you are then able to pierce the corporate veil and say, no, this isn't a business that gets protected. This is a personal liability. And now I can come after the house. I can come after your car. I can, whatever else it is that people try to hide within these corporations, or I should say hide, but protect.
Right. But also as far as the personal property that's owned and controlled, it's in a trust, isn't it? So it's not under an individual's name, any of those properties that he and his family have and operate. Right, Gene?
So it's not, that's again, not entirely clear. There is a business, there's an LLC that appears to be, so it shares the same name as the road that one of his properties is on. So I saw this like a lot in government contract, and they would have, a prime contractor would set up a subcontract organization, and they would just call it, the 123 Main Street LLC. And, that would hold the property, in there, but their office was at 123, Main Street. Right. So it's a similar thing, where again, they personally, so they want to say, no, we don't own it. The business owns it. But again, if you're personally living in it and operating it, then that corporate protection you're looking for is null and void.
Right. So, I mean, at the very least, it appears shady to me. It doesn't look like it's above board, and certainly not the way that it should be according to the way that he promotes his organizations.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it is this idea. It's probably, similar to if you, explore churches and mega churches and things like that, right? You start finding all these corporations and the head pastor living in the multi-million-dollar mansion, and all the rest of it. Is it necessarily illegal? No. But when you are standing on stage preaching about, give up your Psalms to the Lord and living in struggle, and you're living in $1 million mansion, that's a very tough position to necessarily justify.
Yeah.
But as we see in religion, right, everybody still follows it and still shows up at those mega churches. This is, this is the Church of Stephen Greer.
So is it technically classified as a church, though, Gene?
Who, Greer?
Yeah, Greer.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just it's a rebranding of some New Age philosophy.
Right. So he's not really technically a church and doesn't have the protections of said religious organization. Like
no, absolutely right, absolutely. He as opposed to registering it as a church, it's just registered as nonprofits.
Right. Which is not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
For somebody who presents everything as straightforward, authoritative, altruistic. Listen, it's your business. Your business is you sell UFO themed experiences.
Kind of like what happened down in Florida when they had supposedly the flares drop from planes from a flight school nearby.
Right. That's again.
You charge thousands of dollars per head to come and attend, and they expect to see something, and they get a great performance.
And they get a great right. And there's the access journalists who call themselves investigative journalists, and much like you were talking about with Jay, these are disclosure themed content creators. First and foremost, first job. I need to generate content. And so they generate whatever content they have to that they can market and get the clicks on. And, they have to worry about paying that bill every month, right? Whatever their bill is, whatever lifestyle by being a content creator, but they're not investigators. They're not, they're not looking to solve anything. They're not, that's what I'm saying. Let's have a really honest conversation with ourselves and the community about what exactly
is going on here.
Exactly it is we're following and why. And, all of these things, you see all the indications. It's just around the UFO theme. It's like being in a UFO theme park.
Right. For entertainment purposes only, which is how they used to describe all those psychic networks that were around in the 80s.
Right. Very subtext, right? It's somewhere there down in, down in the bottom. But their main goal is, they have to generate content. He has to generate experiences, right? And so he's leveraging what he enjoys personally. Listen, I could do the same, right? I could go and start a whole thing about resonance and music and classical music and start organizing concerts and events where we're going to go out to a field and we're going to have an orchestra and singers play certain things and that explaining the resonance, and then the UFOs are going to come because of that.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, we're having an honest conversation with the audience about all this now, so that people are aware. And let me tell you, he's not.
Greer's thing was meditation and New Age and transcendental meditation.
But from what I remember, and what I seem to remember, is that Greer didn't even invent CE5. He took it from somebody else and just started promoting it.
Right. We just, Corbell did it when he was before he got into being a fine artist or whatever else. He created quantum jujitsu. Right. He loved jujitsu. He loved the quantum stuff. There was some sensei up in Seattle, a woman who's like 10, 15 years older. She had created this quantum jujitsu stuff. He must have seen a class on it or something about it, brought it down, started teaching it in the student center at the university. And then his story becomes, I taught quantum jujitsu at, whatever university it was. No, you didn't. You held a class in the day room, in the common room, and you charged $20 a head or whatever. All of these things creating the hero stories, right? Greer has created the Messiah story, for himself. near-death experience. The ETs contacted me. They gave me this information, and now I'm the only one who can, and anybody else, any other contact that you get might be demonic. So you have to come to me, and and without me, it all falls apart. That, that's the common Messiah avatar, framework.
And I guess the other part that comes into that, Gene, is you've got those who are around Greer, talks about the non-human intelligence being altruistic, something that's beneficial to humanity, and they all blame Lue for going ahead and calling out the non-human intelligence as a threat. But if you look at anything coming from a military background, intelligence background, everything from a thunderstorm to a flock of seagulls to you name it, is considered as a threat. So you just have to look at it of how does what we're talking about, how it can potentially engage with what we know is our reality and threaten it. So it's just two different ways of looking at it. But, if they were truly that good and they were out looking for us and looking out for humanity, why would they be hiding and lurking in the shadows all the time? Why would they let genocides, nuclear war go on? Why would they allow horrible, cataclysms happen in the world where all these tens of thousands, famine, millions of people starving? If they were truly altruistic and being here for humanity to help us, they'd be helping us getting past this, but they seem to be more of an observer that's off to the side, hiding in the shadows, but quietly kind of guiding us and giving the governments and the if you want to call it the military industrial complex, the technology they need to move things forward. Now, is this for their own agenda or is it for something bigger?
Right. And then add to that, then they're channeling themselves through some random people over here, and they're giving somebody else the insight on how to communicate with them. Again, that should be something that all humanity should have, right? That should just be published. Hey, here you go. This is what's given to me. So when you throw a $2,000 price tag on it, then you gotta start questioning, right? Here's how to breathe oxygen. I'm gonna, $1,500. I'm gonna teach you how to do it properly. All right.
Listen, he's not charging $20 an hour in the break room. He's charging $5,000 and $10,000 and up for these people to spend their hard-earned cash to listen to this rhetoric.
Yeah,
so,
and just like the mega churches, there's people who want to sit there and want to digest it and be part of it and enjoy that. And it's great. It makes them feel good. It does whatever it does for them. Fantastic. But I think for those of us that are trying to keep our eyes on the prize,
right,
that are trying to discern, what is it that, how do we move this issue forward? None of that has anything to do with it. Right? Because in all, right, Bashar, all of these people have not said anything that has proven anything. Right? They haven't, it hasn't led to a photo, go to this mountaintop on such and such a day, and we will, appear to you. And we just get general stuff that, makes people feel good. And
No, what we get a lie. Because in my opinion, Greer's disclosure, Greer's aliens aren't aliens. They're not. It's not disclosure. He's bullshitting everybody. He says, "Come meditate with me, and we'll get alien." And then he pays somebody to drop flares out of the sky. That's not real. That's fake. It's all fake to me. Greer is nothing but fake. It's all BS, in my opinion.
And I personally agree. And but that's what I'm saying. For the audience, for the discerning viewer, to understand or do their own research on any of this with anybody that comes forward. Look at the motivations, follow the money trail, where and how you can, and and exercise some discernment about the information that we're then amplifying and putting forward. Because if it's because then it otherwise muddies the waters.
If I may bring up here, Gene, really quick, I did go off and talk to ChatGPT 5.2. Granted, it may not be accurate or 100% all the time. I want to go ahead and bring this out. I asked the question, what are the pricing structures for dinner events at Dr. Stephen Greer's homes? Because I've heard of these before in the past, and I didn't know the exact funding of how much it cost. Now, there was one thing, there was a crowdfunding that was going on for the Ultimate Disclosure event that was bringing out, where it was $10,000 to $25,000 for dinner for two with Dr. Greer in a small group the evening before the event premiere. That's $25,000. I wonder how many groups of two that he had. Also, $200,000 and above. A private weekend with Dr. Greer at the Star Retreat Center. There's that Star organization. We need to look up the Star Retreat Center, Gene. In Hot Springs, Virginia, includes lodging and food. Friday arrival, leave Monday, travel not included. Redeem within 1 year, $200,000. Holy cow. Let's move on. We've got another one here, $25,000 to $200,000. Free tuition for two to the Star Retreat Center for a 5 to 7 day event. This is not a CE5 expedition with field work.
$200,000 for a free thing. There's a woman I know who bought a beautiful home in Tuscany and renovated it, and it's gorgeous. And she does cooking, and she does cooking, social media and things. And she now has people, and I laughed as she was explaining it. She's like, for people pay her to come and stay at her Tuscan home so that they can go out and harvest the olives that then get made into olive oil, right? And I'm like, so you got people to pay to come work for you to create a product that you give them like one free bottle, and then you otherwise sell on the. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
What did P.T. Barnum say? There's one born every minute.
Right. And these people are just enthralled. I'm in Italy. I'm harvesting the olives so that, and it's going to be in this olive oil. And once that olive oil comes out, they tell everybody, go buy it. This is the batch that I worked on. Yeah. And I'm like, she just saved herself how much in labor costs?
These trees are thousands of years old. Go ahead and make your moment to go ahead and be a part of history, harvesting olives from these trees again before they die.
Right. Crazy.
Jesus
and
Christ.
People just eat it right up. And I laugh because I'm like, I wish, I wish I had whatever switch in your brain, that switch in my brain that's like, I can't, what am I going to do? I'm going to make people pay to come work for me. Come on. Stupid, I feel stupid.
I mean, come on. I mean, I feel stupid because I haven't been having people come on for a private weekend with Thomas Fessler at the Fessler Retreat Center in Mill Creek, Washington, which includes lodging and food for $200,000. Holy shit. Andy,
and for an extra $25,000, they get to walk the dogs.
Yeah. What if they get to hold hands in the park while walking afterwards? Andy, you're up, and then Kyle.
Yeah, I'm just going to use an English word that just popped up. Flabbergasted. I'm in the wrong job. I'm sweating my watsits off for barely paying the rent every month. And I'm all credit to these people for thinking up these scams. I'm going to use the word. But even more so, there are people out there that are willing to pay that kind of money.
They accuse Lue Elizondo for bringing out a book and calling him a grifter when he got someone for a dinner event charging between $10,000 and $25,000 for dinner for two. If you want to come out and hang out for 5 days and it's not a CE5 event, up to $200,000. Holy shit.
And I'm really sorry, but how much did the person say Lue charged? $70? $70? I'm
and you get to go
whether
ahead
you
and
like-
stand in line and ask a question and meet him personally afterwards, and you're not charged anything for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if I'm ever in a position, I'm sorry, I'm paying the $70, whether you like Lou or not. I'm paying the $70. Not that I have $70. Hey, but
Yeah.
it's just I literally find it unbelievable that there are people out there with so much money who are just willing to throw it away. Throw some of it my way, please. I don't have to kill myself.
Well,
every bloody week.
even in any online game, you have those individuals where money is no object. They are rich beyond anything. They're called whales. And they'll come and buy the most ludicrous, expensive stuff out there because they want to have one of everything. And I wouldn't doubt if there are the whales of disclosure as well.
Exactly. And then, Thomason, even if you get, so you've given your $200,000 for the retreat center, and they've learned that where's that 200,000 gone to? Right? It's gone to what, pay the mortgage on the retreat center, which is actually, a part of your private residence. So it's, you pay the guy's mortgage for the month, or for 6 months, or
well, here it is. Well, wait a minute. How do you pay for it? The question is, you can donate by check. These are all donation, folks. This is coming from Ultimate Disclosure, Greer's site. You can donate by check. You can donate by wire. Okay, I need to make this larger so we can see it for the audience. All right, you can donate by check. Make checks payable to Star Unacknowledged LLC. Next, donate by wire transfer to whoever Anna Kramer is. It's SeriousDisclosure.com. Or you can donate by Zelle to Dr. Stephen Greer directly. So this is if you want to have the $200,000 above, which is a private weekend with Dr. Stephen Greer at the Star Retreat Center in Hot Springs, Virginia, for up to 5 people, including a donor. Includes lodging and food. Does not include travel. Arrive Friday and leave on Monday morning. Must be redeemed within 1 year. Plus everything from previous levels. What else we've got from the $25,000 to $200,000 level? Free tuition for 2 people to the Star Retreat Center for a 5 to 7 day event in Virginia with Dr. Greer, but not for CEI folks, of course. Must be redeemed within a year, otherwise you're losing every penny. Plus everything from previous levels. So for $10,000 to $25,000, you get a dinner for 2 with Stephen Greer in a small group in the evening before a private movie premiere. Plus everything from the previous levels, but then we've got the $2,500 level to the $10,000 level, which is 2 free general admission tuition for a weekend or 3-day weekend workshop with Greer, but must be redeemed within a year. A VIP seating for 2 people at the movie premiere and after party. What the fuck?
So so here's the careful thing, Thomas, right? When you go scroll down the bottom, when you're talking about a donation, so what's it say there? A donation. Donations are not tax deductible. So it doesn't go to a 501c3, and it's not a donation, because a donation, when you're doing something like that, it would have to specify that there is a part of the event that is of fair market value, and anything above that is then the amount that you've donated. So if he said, $100,000 of that, $50,000 is the fair market value of what it is that you receive, and then the other $50,000 is a donation, and that goes on to supporting a mission. So are donations tax deductible? No, because they're not donations. They are fees. It's just a fee.
But your gift level, your additional donations increase my gift level. That's right. For every additional dollar you give, your gift level is always based on your total donations. And how are the funds going to be used for the production and marketing of the film? You know who's been the primary editor of a lot of the videos that's actually been put out there by Stephen Greer? Dr. Stephen Greer.
Oh, there you go.
But then again, he does have Michael Mazzola and other people who help him. He's got help from Third Phase of the Moon. So there is a bunch of money that comes in, but we'll just have to figure out how that gets spread around. Be interesting to learn the truth.
So in reality, what this is is what, I want $200,000 to make my film, and I don't want to give you a producer credit or have you share in any of the royalties. So instead, I call it a donation.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no return on your investment. Right. So I want to make a film, you donate to, whereas normally you go out and you find the funding for it and you finance it, or you find people that, put the money up front, and then they want a piece of the revenue, and there's a plan to recover it and all the rest of it. So he just bypasses all that by calling it a donation, and you can come hang out with me for a weekend.
Yeah. It's craziness, my friend. On that note, Mike, you may need to unmute yourself. We're getting some feedback coming. It's been a great conversation tonight. We've gotten deep into this one, and it seems like we have just, if you want to call it, hit the tip of the iceberg, and it's something we're going to be diving into a little bit deeper as time goes on.
Oh, absolutely, because there's a lot to talk about here that I think the average person is unaware of.
And I think most of the people over on X who are all listening to those who are platforming and idealizing Greer don't realize the kind of individual they are truly platforming.
Well, they do, and they don't care. It could be either or. Says a lot about them.
Well,
Not
sometimes,
like
Mike, when you're on someone's payroll, you don't care where the money comes from, do you?
No, you don't. It's a good point. But we're trying to bring the truth out for everybody so they're aware of what's going on.
Yeah, and we'll also be doing a deep dive into the Star Retreat Center. Who owns it? What's there? What's going on? Because it sounds kind of linked to the organization that Eugene was bringing up. Kyle, your hand is up, my friend.
I was just going to ask what the Star Retreat Center is. The $200,000 sounds pretty intimate. The couples weekend.
It's a grand historic estate with hot tubs and views. There you go.
That's with okay. And that's with Stephen. Couples with Stephen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this
Remember, you got to bring your own baby oil, Kyle, when you meet with Stephen.
And I would venture to guess, with a little bit of effort, of finding the retreat center when there is no. When there are no guests there who paid $200,000 for dinner and whatever else, it's probably on Vrbo or Airbnb for a couple grand a week.
Imagine the stories this hot tub could tell. I feel sorry for its filters.
Oh God, yeah. I wouldn't want that job.
But hey, look, you've got a nice 43-inch TV on top of a nice expensive stand.
Yeah. That's true. You're right. The deeper we dive into this rabbit hole around DC Muscle Wolf, the darker it gets. So this is interesting. There's going to be a lot more to talk about on this.
Yeah. And not necessarily what's been going on that shower with all those shower heads. You never know.
Oh, God. I don't want to know.
Oh, neither do I. Oh, wait a minute. I can bring it up. Yes, but I'm sure Susan Mike definitely knows.
Oh, God. Yeah, there we go. It's a hell of a thing. But between a rock and a hard place, between him and her.
Oh, yeah. For those who forgot how beautiful she is, there you go, folks.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
No, you're welcome, my friend. Great show today. We went a little bit over, didn't expect to, but you know what? This has been a great conversation. It's something we're going to be covering in a bit more detail because the individual, the money, where it flows to, who's part of that potential money flow, the supposeds and the actuals, we're going to go ahead and, figure out what's there and bring it out for the truth because, people deserve it.
Know.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the only way to get to the truth. So we will. And there's more to come. Stay tuned, everybody.
Oh, gosh, yes. Absolutely. On that note, let's go ahead and jump back into the studio. Where am I going here? Not even the studio, just Interview guest. There we go, Mike. Great show tonight. Appreciate you coming out. You've had some snow there. We've had some snow here. Ours is almost melted. Yours should be around. It's actually going to be getting cold for the next week. So whatever you have, if it's slick and icy and snowy, you're going to be having it for sometime into the near future.
Yeah, clean it out now and get plenty of salt before it freezes over. The good advice.
Exactly, my friend. On that note, where is that at? Let's get to this. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. Yes, we'll be back on Monday and then back on New Year's Eve, my friend, because you know what? That's going to be the show to be at. Mark your calendars. We're going to have one blast and a half for that moment. On that note, I want to thank you all for coming out. Actually, we'll probably do 2 shows on New Year's Eve, an hour for the countdown in the United Kingdom, and then we'll be back on again later in the day for the countdown on the East Coast, Central, Mountain, and on the West Coast. Yes, last year was a blast and a half, Mike.
Yeah, it is. We have fun.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. And someone just reminded me, wait a minute. I have not played the first video I brought out on YouTube. Let me get to this really quick. Oh, God, where is this? 5 years ago is about where we're at on this one. Let's find this. I just should be able to search by USO. Oh, no. You gotta be kidding me. Show all. Here we go. I think this is the video they're talking about, Mike. Let me go ahead and bring this one up. And hold on. Let me just bring this around. Should be able to download this in a second for audience. For those who are still sticking out, yeah, we've got it. Give me a second. This is the first video I did over on YouTube to go ahead and get the channel going. It's something I created when I was dealing with over at good old Tim Duss UFO Man. It's just about to be down here and I'll be able to bring this thing up. All right, 3, 2, 1. Open external application. This is the one they said, yes, holy shit, Fessler is serious about this, and yes, I am. All right, let's go ahead and get to this video. Let's enjoy it. Here we go. All right, here we go. If extraterrestrials seeded the Earth and continued to use it as a genetic laboratory, as ancient astronaut theorists suggest, could there be more sophisticated life forms than us, not just on distant planets, but right here in our own oceans? It seems incredible to us, but we may be seeing their ships, these USOs, coming out of our water, of our oceans. Is it possible there is already a species more advanced than humans hiding out in places we can't reach, that have been there for thousands of years, and we will only have true dominion over the Earth once we are able to fully explore and inhabit these depths as well?
Two classified Pentagon reports on UFOs have been revealed, including a newly leaked photo. Here it is, showing what the pilot described as a silver object found hovering above the Atlantic Ocean. And if you zoom in, it appears to be some sort of triangular object. The report reportedly could not rule out alien or non-human technology. Now, here's where it gets really weird. There is some speculation that some UFOs are able to move through the air and underwater. Raising the possibility that aliens are operating beneath the ocean. You know what they say, Jeff?
Oh, gosh, she looks like a blow-up doll. Just had to say it.
That we know more about the moon and outer space than we know about our own ocean.
Perhaps when we finally make contact with alien beings, it will not be in the furthest reaches of space, but right here on Earth, lurking in the deep. There you go, folks. That's what got me going on YouTube a long time ago, and I've been doing live streams ever since. And it's just something that, Mike, it's something that makes us who we are.
It is, and congratulations on the 5th anniversary, Thomas. Great job, and we're going to continue the work that you started, and we're going to keep doing what we do so that the public is informed and knows everything that's going on. So congratulations again on that, and it's been amazing and a lot of fun, and we're going to keep doing this.
The first 5 are done. Let's get ready for the next 5, my friend. Well, look at that. We just got a super chat. The first one came in for tonight, coming from Amanda. Thank you very much, Amanda. Appreciate the super chat. You know, everything we get here on Disclosure Tonight goes back into our fund. Thank you very much. We appreciate your love and support. Yeah, we've been doing this for a while. We're going to keep it going here. This is the Disclosure Tonight Bar and Grill, with a place where we all come together, hang out as a family, drink, eat, have fun, hang out with friends, talk in the chat, and come together as a community, because this is the only place for anyone who wants to come out there, be as part of this chat. Go ahead and just follow the link we always have at the top of the chat from YouTube and jump right in. We're here for everybody, Mike? This is a safe space for the community.
Welcome. And we're the only platform that has an open forum like this where anybody can come in and join and be a part of the conversation. So, yeah, we're going to keep on doing it. And everybody's welcome. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun year coming up.
Thank you much, Tim. Appreciate that super chat. Yeah, absolutely. 5, 4, 5. Yes, absolutely. 2 through 5. Either way, we'll take it any way we get it. Appreciate everyone's love and support. What we do here at Disclosure Tonight. On that note, we do want to thank everybody for coming out. Yes, we just realized what we had to do to go ahead and get here to this point in Disclosure Tonight. Yeah, can't wait for our show on Monday and the show coming up on New Year's Eve. It should be a great one. Can't wait to hang out with each and every one of you. Mike and Gene, thanks for coming out to tonight's show.
Oh, my pleasure. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, thanks to Gene for all the hard work and for being a part of it with us.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And we usually say, Mike, at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you soon, buddy. Actually, see you on Monday. Take care, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.